Hi, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I am live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments because I am here to answer your immigration related questions right now. If you're going through the process, if you're thinking about going through the process, even if you have already been through the process and you still have questions, now is the time to go ahead and put your questions in the comments. That's what I do every day. I come here to answer your U.S. immigration related questions, and that's exactly why I'm here right now. So go ahead, put those questions in the comments. Now, let me introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I help clients to get their green cards and status in the United States. You can go to the link in my bio where you will be able to see my bio, learn more about the law firm, about what I've done through client testimonials, as well as to contact the firm by using the contact number or the email or the contact form. The contact form enables a scheduling coordinator to get back to you to schedule a consultation. So is there any problems with NJ license giving to undocumented? So it differs from state to state, and so it really depends on what the requirement, the state specific requirements are in New Jersey. I know that some states do allow for individuals who don't have their papers to apply for the for a license or a state ID, but they still have to meet certain requirements. What you need to do is contact the DMV, that's the Department of Motor Vehicles in New Jersey, and ask them what are their requirements. If you can't necessarily prove your legal status, what else can you show? So for example, some states, if you show that you've been a resident of the state as well as another form of identification, they are willing to issue you a state ID, but it all depends on the state. So go ahead and contact your local DMV office. Keep your questions coming. I'm here to answer your immigration related questions. So put those questions in the comments and I will go ahead and answer your questions. That's why I'm here. Also, even if you don't have a question now or you don't want to ask your question right now, you can always follow me, get updates on immigration, on how to get your status, especially if you're without status in the United States. Or you can also see when I go live and be able to answer, ask your question as soon as I go live. How long does the process take in Florida? So it depends on what process you're talking about, and it really depends on whether the process is whatever application is being processed at the USCIS office in Florida. So it depends. Now, what I can tell you to do is you can go to uscis.gov, and if you go to case processing times, you can put in the specific form, so the specific application that you're applying for, and you can actually see based on the service center what type of, how long they're taking, the range of time they're taking. So go ahead and do that. It's called uscis.gov. Go to that website and you'll be able to see how those specific USCIS offices, how long they're taking to process case types. Keep your questions coming. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So put those questions in the comments right now. And you can also follow me if you don't have a question today, you can go ahead and follow me. And as soon as you see me go live on another day, you can join me and ask your immigration questions. So I usually come with a topic to talk about in between your questions. Keep in mind, you're my priority. Your questions are my priority while I'm here on the live. And so I'm going to give you a good topic tonight, but I want you to keep in mind that your questions are my priority. So keep putting those questions in even as I talk. And I am going to be talking about the usual topic, and that's applying for the green card if you are being mistreated. So yesterday I talked about the fact that if you're being mistreated, if you're being subjected to extreme cruelty or abuse by a U.S. citizen spouse, even an ex-spouse if you've been divorced for less than 2 years, You can still apply for this. You can apply for your own green card, get your work permit, stay in the United States. Now, keep in mind that spouses, applying for the green card based on spouses is not the only, those are not the only relatives that can mistreat you and you qualify for this green card. There are other types of U.S. or permanent resident spouses that, not spouses, relatives that can mistreat you and then qualify you for this. So if you are under 25 and you're being mistreated by a U.S. citizen or even a green card holder parent in the United States, and when I say mistreatment, I mean that you're being verbally abused, you're being emotionally abused, you're being even financially abused. If there is physical abuse, that does count. So keep that in mind, that mistreatment, extreme cruelty does count. Doesn't have to involve a police report, doesn't have to involve physical injuries to count as a form of abuse or extreme cruelty. So if you're under 25 and you are being subjected to extreme cruelty or mistreatment by a U.S. citizen or green card holder parent, you could qualify for this. If you are being mistreated by a U.S. citizen, son or daughter who's 21 and up, so if that child who's 21 and up, they're mistreating you, they're really putting you through the ringer, then this counts as well. Can you apply for a work permit in the USA without status? So Shen Shen, the sexy diva, it depends. Now, if you are going to apply for a certain immigration benefit and that certain immigration benefit that you're applying for allows you to apply for a work permit, then that would be an example of a case where you don't officially have status in the United States, but you are allowed to apply for the work permit while you're applying for the certain application. For example, this application that I'm talking about now, where you're applying based on mistreatment by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse, if you're under 25, a parent, or son or daughter, citizen son or daughter 21 and up, while you're applying for this green card based on mistreatment, even though you may not have status, you still are allowed to apply for the work permit and obtain a work permit while you wait for the process, a decision in your case. That also goes for adjustment of status. So if you're applying through a relative, or as an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, then you could possibly qualify for a work permit. If you're applying for asylum, the same applies as well. You, at some point in the process, you can apply for a work permit. If I'm here on a B1, B2 and overstay, how can I apply for a green card? So it depends. I am Bernard. It depends on how you qualify for the green card. Do you qualify through an employer? Do you qualify through a family member to apply? And furthermore, to apply for the green card while being in the United States. Because even in certain cases where you have an employer or you have a relative, it may not qualify you to stay in the United States. For example, if you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, that means you're the spouse of a U.S. citizen, you're the parent of a U.S. citizen who's 21 and up, or you are the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen under 21 and unmarried. If you fall within that category and you overstayed, you could adjust status in the United States as long as you don't have any other disqualifying factors going on in your background. But if you want to evaluate, it's so broad. If you want to evaluate your options, you could always schedule a consultation. But I can tell you it's going to be through either an employer, a family member, or if you have means to apply through humanitarian means, which usually means that you're going to have a T, a U visa, or asylum. If you submit your green card application in July this year, how long do you think we hear back from them? So Badi Shantia, this is the process. You apply, you do your fingerprinting appointment. Right now it's taking months to schedule that fingerprinting appointment just because there is a backlog. So you could be looking at 3 to 4 months is the average time, but I've seen as long as 6 months. Now, if you are applying for the green card while being in the United States, you could be looking at getting the work permit if you apply for it within 6 to 8 months. And then you could look at the entire process being completed in about 18 to 24 months if you are applying for adjustment of status in the United States through a U.S. citizen spouse, a parent, or a U.S. Citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up. Now, if you're outside of the country, it just depends on what type of green card application you're filing. So can you let me know that, Badi Shantia? Who is applying for you to get the green card? How old are you? What's your marital status? And what is the status of the person that's applying for you? Elsie, if I receive a receipt number from immigration for the form I-130, does it mean my application got accepted? Yes. So it means that they have started to process your application. Doesn't mean it has been approved. There is a difference. So they're going to now put it through the process to get a decision. Or at some point in the process, it depends. If they need more information, they'll get in touch with you. But the good news is that it is being processed. And you can also check your status online to see where they are. Hello. So NIF Red Hill, my consultation fee is $150 for up to an hour. It is very detailed. And I just like to say that it is definitely worth doing a consultation because I evaluate your case. I tell you what you qualify for, what your options are, whether you're on the right path. And you can walk out with me as your attorney should you need it. And, you know, especially if you're thinking about applying for something or you are wondering if you qualify for something, this is the way to start because you get reliable legal advice from an attorney who can prevent you from making devastating mistakes in your case. So very important. You can always call 561-405-4889 to schedule that consultation. So Mama's case processing time is real on USCIS online check website. So yes, I'm not sure if you're speaking to me, Jayhine, but yes, you can check the case processing time on online. How long does the extension take to process? I got mine. So it could right now, it depends on what kind of extension you're talking about. If you're talking about the extension of the B1, B2, it could be taking months. I've seen where the system has been backlogged and some people have just gotten their biometrics after a year. But it's supposed to be a matter of so removal of conditions. So if you got the extension letter, so you usually get the extension letter, you could be looking at 2 years right now. Now I don't know if you got the removal of conditions or you just got the extension letter, but you could be looking at a 2-year process. You're welcome, Jay Hines. Keep those questions coming. These are all great questions, and that is exactly why I'm here. I'm here to answer your immigration related questions. So why not take advantage of a U.S. immigration attorney being here to answer your questions? Yes, I have the letter, and the update states they use my fingerprint. So yes. So right now, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to speed up the process and get rid of the backlog by reusing the biometrics. But keep in mind that I've seen it as short as 6 months, and I've seen it as long as 2 years. Usually where I see it go on for 2 years or even more is where there is a complication in the case. Many times what happens is the person who applied didn't know that they had to apply for a waiver if they were applying on their own. That's where you find that delays happen, is that they didn't apply with their spouse and then they need a waiver. To apply for a waiver, they didn't submit the correct evidence, and then they get into trouble there. So very important that you get legal advice and you get assistance with this process to go from a 2-year green card to a 10-year green card. Charming 660, you are welcome. So very important that you get legal advice before you do anything. So keep those questions coming because I am here to answer your immigration questions. I am here every single day, so go ahead, and if you have not already Follow me, and as soon as you see me go live, you can hop on and ask your questions. How many months does a student visa have? So usually it goes by the years and not necessarily months. But it also depends on what type of student visa you're applying for. What does name is updated on my profile? So usually where they've updated information, if there is something new on your application, you will see that pop up on your profile. What you can do in Walia is call them and ask them that question if there are any new updates that cause that to show up on your case status. Keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So what you can do is you can also go to the link in my bio where you can see my contact information. You can call 561-405-4889. There's a scheduling coordinator who is available right now to take your information. How long does it take when you sponsor a sibling? TG 7500 is taking a minimum of 14 years right now. In Jamaica, in Mexico, it could take longer. It could take 22 years. So you definitely have to be invested in the process. And it's not a quick and easy solution if your sibling is already in the United States and without their status. So get legal advice to make sure you're on the right track, and make sure that you qualify or what you need to do to fix your sibling status if they're here in the United States. What's the waiting time to get a green card for my husband? So LC, it depends on, are you a citizen? Are you a green card holder? Green card holders, right now you could be looking at 2 years. As US citizens, you could be looking at anywhere from 12 months to 24 months. The average time right now, when they clear the backlog, we could see an improvement, but the average time is 18 to 24 months. How does it work for you to represent someone if they don't live in the state where you practice? So we have to submit applications to USCIS offices all over the country. When you're applying for your applications, it's very unlikely that you'll be submitting that application within your own state. So as immigration attorneys, it's a federal practice. So we work with USCIS offices across the country to facilitate the application process, to make sure everything is going smoothly with it, and to advocate for our clients. So when you're outside, I'm very experienced. Many of my clients are outside of the state, and I do have systems in place to exchange documents, to get original signatures, and also to correspond by phone, video. And for those who are in the state, to meet me in person if they so choose. It all depends on the client's preference. How long does it take for them to call you after your fingerprints for citizenship, please? Now it varies. It really depends on the service center, because it is going to be the service center that does the interview. And so if they're very backlogged, it could take longer. But what I'm seeing is an average of 6 months. But keep in mind, user Janet, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the situation with you. TG75, you're welcome. So keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer your questions. Put those questions in the comments and I will go ahead and answer. So you're welcome. And Stacy Boo, I filled out a K1 visa in March of this year. I've received an NOA, but notice of action and not a notice of action 2. What should I do? So can you let me know what is the NOA 1 and what's the NOA 2? User Janet 72, you are welcome. Hey, if my father-in-law is citizen, how long will it take if he applies for his son or daughter? So it depends. Now with your father-in-law, it depends on the age and the marital status of the son and the daughter. Now the daughter-in-law. So the son, obviously the son is married in this case. And so if he's a U.S. citizen, it's taking 12 years. So it is a long process and it's not an easy and quick solution. So you're looking at a minimum of 12 years. So keep those questions coming. I am here to answer your immigration questions. So put your questions in the comments and I will go ahead and answer. You can also call 561-405-4889 to schedule a consultation. The scheduling coordinator is waiting for your call and will be available up until 11 p.m. So get it out of the way. If you're not working, you have the free time right now, get it out of the way, schedule your consultation. So what if you apply for a son alone? How long will it take? So it's taking about 6 to 7 years for a U.S. citizen to file for. Now, Sophia, once your son is married, so it doesn't even matter if you're on the application or not. Once he's married, it's going to be a 12-year process. So in this case, you wouldn't, Sophia, if you're the daughter-in-law, you wouldn't like it very much because he would have to be single for the processing time to be shortened to 6 to 7 years. They received it, but they didn't approve it. So Stacy Boo, what usually happens is that, so they receive your application, they will send you a notice of action saying that it has been accepted. But keep in mind that you're not going to get an immediate approval. It does take time, and usually with the I-130, it's taking over a year for those to be approved. So this is a K-1, and the K-1 is also taking over a year. So you're not going to get an approval right away. So we never married legally. Okay, so I have an interview for an F1 visa. How can I prepare my interview? So you have to make sure that you have all the evidence. Now, I can give you general information. I don't know what kind of student visa you're applying for. I don't know what your circumstances are, so I can't give you personal legal advice. But what you can do is make sure that you gather the right evidence. So you make sure you show how you're going to pay for the school. Make sure you show that you have a non-immigrant intent. There's no permanent intention to live in the United States and you're not trying to use the F1 for that purpose. But that is as much as information, general information, as I can give you. Keep those questions coming because I'm here to answer your immigration related questions. Put those questions in the comments right now because that is exactly why I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here every day, so you can also go ahead and follow me if you would like to learn more about immigration, learn more how you can gain status even if you're undocumented in the United States. A citizen apply for a child over 21. Does it take 7 years? So yes, it takes 6 to 7 years right now. Keep in mind that could always change, but right now, as the processing time stands, it's 6 to 7 years. How can I prove that I'm coming back? I don't have anything in my country. So it depends. I don't know what your situation is. Usually it's going to be your strong family ties in your home country. It's going to be, what you plan to do after you return back to your home country. So it all depends on your particular circumstances. So Sophia, yes, so that is 7 years. Keep your questions coming while I'm here. I am here to answer your questions. So put those questions in the comments and I will keep answering those questions. So I was talking in between your questions. I have been talking about how to apply for the green card on your own. If you're in the United States, you're without status and you are in a family type relationship, whether it's with your parent, if you're under 25, whether it's with your spouse or even your son or citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up, and they're mistreating you, they're subjecting you to extreme cruelty, there is a way for you to apply for your own green card and then go through the process. While you're going through the process, you would get a work permit as well that helps to alleviate some of the frustrations associated with being without status. So keep those questions coming. So Hot Saucy, I really cannot give you information specific to you. I would have to be your attorney or I'd have to speak with you in a consultation. But I can only give you general information. You don't necessarily have to show that you're planning to open a business. But the officer is going to make sure that you don't have any immigrant intent. That's usually by looking at your financial ties in your home country. Who are your family ties in the country? What are your intentions? What are you studying? Who's paying for your education? So just make sure that you prepare based on the cost of your education. How are you going to pay for that? As well as to show that I-20. So the community college should issue you an I-20 as well. So keep those questions coming because I'm here to answer your immigration questions. I am finishing the topic of applying for the green card on your own based on mistreatment. Now, what is mistreatment? Mistreatment or extreme cruelty could involve, for example, it could involve verbal abuse or mistreatment. It could involve mental. It could involve emotional. It could even involve financial abuse. It doesn't have to only be physical. So what kind of evidence can you use? I help my clients to put evidence together, and what's required is any credible evidence, and that means any believable evidence. So if my clients, they have recordings, they have they have their own statement, detailed statement talking about what they went through. They have a psychological report, or I recommend a psychologist for them. These are ways to prove that. So you don't necessarily need to show a police report or show that you were injured or physically harmed or any kind of pictures. While those are helpful, it's not required, and that's the important thing that I want you to know. So once you submit the application, you usually do a background check. So user Jeanette 72, if you need a U.S. citizenship attorney, I'm definitely here for that. I do help clients, especially in complex. I help clients in all sorts of citizenship matters, but especially in complex citizenship matters. So what you can do is go ahead and schedule a consultation first, and we can talk about what your situation is. Make sure you qualify for citizenship if you are not, or if your application isn't already pending. You can call 561-405-4889 to schedule that consultation. My number is also all over my videos, so you can also go there to look at the videos. You can also go to the link in my bio. It's going to take you to the website where you can complete a contact form with your information, and the scheduling coordinator will get back to you to schedule. So once you apply, you usually go through the fingerprinting appointment, and then afterwards you are issued the work permit if you applied for it. And then after that, you usually are scheduled for the adjustment of status if your application is approved. So the approval is taking about a year right now. But in between, you would get the work permit, and you'd get what's called a prima facie letter, which is a good sign because it tells you that you do meet the requirements, and that an officer just has to now review it in more detail to make the final decision. So once you get to the interview process, the officer usually at the interview, they're just going to interview you to make sure that you do qualify for the green card, that you don't have any other disqualifying issues in your background. And then from there, you would get the green card if it's approved. This process is taking about 2 years to 2.5 years. And, it is definitely an option when you feel you don't have any options. When you've been begging your spouse or parent or your son or daughter to help you out, and they are using this as a control tactic. Even if they aren't using it as a way to control you, and they just don't have that consideration for you, as well as they are mistreating you, this is an option for you to obtain permanent residence in the United States. And that is what I do. I help clients to get that. So let me see. Can an auntie or friend apply for you? So no, Leach Pan, no. Nobody, aunties or friends, cousins, none of those can apply for you. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, cousins, all of those would not be able to apply for you. Only a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse, parent, a sibling, U.S. citizen sibling, or a son or daughter who is over 21 and over. If a child is illegal, can the child be placed in school? So generally, yes. Generally, they do not exclude a child from being in school, in public schools, because they lack their immigration status. All right, so I see the questions are slowing down, so I am going to log out for the night, but it has been a pleasure to answer all of your questions. I will be back tomorrow, so what you can do is, if you would like to schedule a consultation, you can click on the bio, on my link on my bio, and it will take you to the website. So my husband is in the process of applying for me. Can we also sponsor my baby brother? So no, that your husband would not be able to sponsor your baby brother unless there was some sort of adoption involved, and that would definitely be more complex. So you definitely want to get legal advice if that's something that you're looking at. But generally, your husband would not be able to apply for your baby brother. So thanks everyone for your amazing questions, and that's exactly why I'm here, to answer questions like this. I will be back tomorrow, so just follow me, and as soon as you see me live, you can hop on and ask your questions as well. Zana, you are welcome. Also, if you would like to schedule a consultation to talk about your particular situation, then go ahead. So can I apply for Daca now? It depends on whether you qualify, but Daca is open. So if you qualify for it, even if you're applying for the first time, Daca is open for you to apply now. You can always schedule a consultation to get that started now. So go to the link in my bio to get to the website, to get the contact information. There is a scheduling coordinator who is up and waiting for your call up until 11 p.m. tonight to put you on my schedule so that I can evaluate your case and help you out. Sexy Annie, have a great night as well. Good night, everyone. Bye.